everyone, good day. Welcome to this educational video. I am Aliana G. Alulud from Bachelor of Secondary Education, major in Mathematics 3A in Kapalong College of Agriculture Sciences and Technology. And for today's video, I will be discussing the basic concept on inclusive and special education. I hope you will learn a lot from this video and you will enjoy. Now, let's start! Basic concepts on inclusive and special education. This would be our learning object. At the end of the discussion, you will able to know the fundamentals of inclusive and special education. Demonstrate a basic understanding of inclusive and special education concepts. Define special education and inclusive education. Make a distinction between special education, inclusion, and mainstreaming. Education is a vital tool for acquiring necessary knowledge and abilities. It entails more than just reading a book or memorizing the letters of alphabet or numbers. Education plays a big role in our daily lives, and it is very significant to us. Indeed, education is a must for us to learn, educate, and develop our different skills and abilities. Today, for many parents and educations, inclusive and special education is a controversial topic. There are many questions and misconceptions about how this is done and implemented, particularly in the learning of students. The question of the majority is, what does the term inclusive education and special education mean? What impact does it have on each student's learning? Now, let's begin by identifying it. What is inclusive education? Inclusive education is a learning environment where children with and without disabilities are taught together as equal. It recognized by teachers, families, and policymakers to be a more beneficial way of ensuring that children with and without disabilities achieve their full educational potential. And it is included in the United Nations Convention on the Right of Persons with Disabilities, or the UNCRPD Article 24. All children are supported to study, contribute, and participate in all aspects of the school's life through inclusive education, regardless of their abilities and characteristics. Inclusive education entails ensuring that all students have access to quality education by efficiently satisfying their different needs in a responsive, welcoming, respectful, and supporting environment. Students take part in the educational program in a collaborative learning environment with support to reduce and eliminate barriers and obstacles that could lead to exclusion. To further understand, inclusion is everyone's basic right with the goal of including everyone regardless of race, age, gender, ability, religious and cultural beliefs, or sexual orientation. Including all student and quality learning, all student plays a role in school. In inclusion, no one will be left behind. Inclusion means providing opportunity and equal participation for all students regardless of the condition in order to generate non-discriminatory environments. Ensure that all students have an equal chance to participate with or without disability. Students with disabilities have the same opportunities as everyone else, not just by access but as values and acceptance. Not labels, needs, not numbers named, not places, services. Inclusion is creating a learning environment in which all students are valued, respected, and motivated to attain their full potential. Different perspectives, cultures, and abilities or disabilities should all be valued, cultivating equal compassion and consideration. Respect everyone, valuing everyone. In inclusion, diversity is honored by providing a variety of answers to the different students' needs in both formal and informal settings, equally addressing the needs of all students, celebrating diversity in individual. Now, to obtain the effective learning environment in the inclusive education, the following are the common bases. First, allow each student to fully participate in a learning environment that is created for all students, ensure with peers and the educational setting of their choice. Second, maintain a good environment, foster a sense of belonging, and ensure that students are making progress towards their personal, social, emotional, and intellectual goals. Third, provide adequate levels of assistance and use student-centered teaching approaches and ideas to respond to individual learning needs. Last, an inclusive environment in which education is meant to be offered to students of varied ability and with their peer group in the community school, while being attentive to their unique learning requirements and used for the majority of the student normal instruction hours. That is inclusive all about it. But before we will move on to the special education, let's watch this video. Special education. What is special education mean? It's essential to figure out why children are having difficulties in school. It's possible that your child's school achievement is being hampered by a disability. If this is the case, your children may be qualified for special education services. Special education is defined as classes or instruction designed for students with disabilities, giftedness, and talents. It is the education of children who are socially, cognitively, or physically different from the norm to the point where formal education approach must be modified. Special education provides children with specified impairments with personalized teaching adjusted to their specific learning needs, allowing them to reach their full potential. To fulfill their needs, children with this kind of ability require additional support from their teacher. When children with disabilities meet the Individuals with Disability Education Act or the IDEA's definition of a child with a disability and state and local policies, they are eligible for special education and related services. The IDEA definition of the child with a disability includes 13 different types of disabilities for which a child may be judged qualified for special education and related services. These are the ideas categories of disability. First is the autism, deafness, deafblindness, hearing impairment, intellectual disabilities, multiple disabilities, orthopedic impairment, other health impairment, serious emotional disturbance, specific learning disability, speech or language impairment, traumatic brain injury, visual impairment, including blindness. Now let's move on to the difference between special education, inclusion, and mainstreaming. Let's watch this video.
Special education is a form of learning provided to students with exceptional needs such as students with learning disabilities or mental challenges.
Inclusion. It's seen as a universal human right. The aim of inclusion is to embrace all people irrespective of race, gender, disability, medical, or other needs.
Mainstreaming is the practice of placing students with special education services in general education during a specific time period based on their skills.
Learners in special education are those students who are not part of the classroom norm.
Same age, peers, or learners are in one class regardless of ability.
A student will be selected to join in a general education classes based on their readiness instead of their age.
The curriculum in special education are strength-based and need-based individualized, while in inclusion, general education curriculum is being used. Lastly, in mainstreaming, learners may have access to both general education curriculum and a more individualized curriculum.
Assessment and evaluation, norm references, strength-based but it sometimes is also standard-based, both norm reference and strength-based.
Learning placement and delivery of services. Services happen inside the special education classroom, but other services such as a therapeutic intervention may be integrated into this setting or delivered separately. Under mainstreaming, research services in both general education classroom and outside through the use of resources rooms and therapeutic programs.
The philosophy in special education is learner-centered.
In inclusion, their philosophy is right-based.
Mainstreaming, preparatory and integrative.
And that is the difference between special education, inclusion, and mainstream. Every student has different needs, particularly those who require special accommodations. Above all, there will be times when the school's facilities are insufficient or lacking in necessary supplies, or when no trained or qualified teachers is available to meet the students' particular needs. But we all believe that everything has a set of solutions, and that if we have the desire to meet our educational needs, whether they be inclusion or special needs, we can conquer and achieve them all. Always keep in mind that according to government policies, learning will be favored by all. No one will be left behind as long as you are eager to learn and have the right to be educated. The value of special education cannot be overstated. Children with disabilities can grow up to be productive, joyful, and fully functional members of society. Alternatively, they can fall behind and fall through the cracks. Inclusion is essential for developing long-term relationships, experiences, and cognitive and social abilities. No child is allowed to fail under the No Child Left Behind Act of 2001. Individual states are held responsible for the students' grades and competency. It is essential for students' success to have accredited and well-trained teachers. And that would be all. Thank you for watching this video. To understand more about the basic concepts on inclusive education and special education, these are my references. Enjoy learning!